In this video, I'll talk about Africa and the origins of assassins. So as the secret societies and war temples of Set continued, so did the assassins. You had the different heads of different assassin cults that took place. You had the Musyaf branch of the assassins, which was taken over by Mamluk Sultan Baybars in 1273. Remember, the origin of the assassins is slightly before the Crusades, around 1083, 1053. So, what was happening? Even Marco Polo mentions the assassins. Okay? You had grand masters like Hassani Saba. Understand what is going on here. There was grand masters Ibn Battuta in the 14th century. He's the one who made the fixed rate for the pay per murder. Remember, you had Murder Inc. and the Mafia. You had Al-Qaeda, Bin Laden, Zabrinsky with Bin Laden. So it is the secret societies training the secret societies members of a certain religion to work on their behalf. They're perverting the religion. It is more than just the black man's history that's being co-opted and stolen. It is the Arabs. It is some of the Asians as well, as the secret societies infiltrate their culture and retell their history through the lens of the secret societies and establish buildings using the concepts of Feng Shui and the concepts of Tai Chi and Karate and the concepts of the ancient Egyptian temples and the Babylonian mysteries. Now, we go on to Iran and Persia, the Persian mysteries. Where were the assassins? In Syria, in Persia. Okay? Why were they there? Because the Aryan secret societies were there, which evolved into the Tool Society, etc. So we go on. We talk about Hassan-i-Sabah. We talk about how this plays into the Kabbalah and how they have secret Jewish cults that have masterminded and are better at manipulating other institutions and organizations and religious structures than other people are. And you had things like the Grand Headmaster of the Order, okay, the Greater Propagandist. It's also known, you know, as I went through the different sites to see if anything contradicted what I said, everything went along with what I said, from Wikipedia to the encyclopedia, from histories.com of different countries to the different countries' tour sites, okay? Now, even Tour Egypt, one of my favorite sites, touches on it a bit. Now, we go on to, they had ranks in the assassins, just like you had ranks in the Masonry. Masonry, in a way, is a financial assassins of America. You know, they are assassins in their own right. Now, if we go on to talk about how these people had to have certain qualities, and how in Masonry you have to be an upright individual and possess certain qualities, an individual who is educated, etc. So we go on to talk about the Hashishans and how the Arabs were smoking hash and how that evolved into the different secret society rituals. Like even in Christianity and Mass you drink wine, so it's certain intoxicants that are also going into the equation. Like Jordan Maxwell mentioned that the hats of the rabbis were also mushrooms, and they take psychedelic mushrooms and they have a religious experience, helps them transcend the body and to float in the spiritual realm. And the Rastafarians smoking weed and etc, etc. Well, the Hashishans, they smoked hash and they did assassins. Now, you have to understand that the Egyptians also used the term Hashishin in the 30s when they were referring to people who were being riotous, and they also used hashish, just like in Afghanistan. What do they do in Afghanistan? They smoke weed and hash, and they have opium fields. The intoxicants, the secret societies, the bankers, the cults, the pharaohs, the elite, and how they are intertwined with the very essence of rich qualities and privileged class. Now, we go on to talk about, I could go on to talk about the different assassin cult leaders and their followers. You had Nizam al-Mulk, you had al-Mustansir, you had al-Pepo, Ridwan assassins, etc. You had the Syrian assassins, of course, the Ibn al-Kashab, Ibn al-Kashab. I believe it was. And you had, of course, the assassins were even hired by the king of Jerusalem, okay, in 1173. So you have to understand that the Christians were known for negotiating with assassins and using the assassins as a third party to bring in their interests domestically and abroad. And so this is history repeating itself. Mongol warlords used assassins. Europeans used assassins. The king of Jerusalem used assassins. History repeats itself. I got about 4 minutes to explore a little bit more with you about how history repeats itself, and how the spread of Islam was a threat in Europe and in Africa as well. As someone pointed out to me, that they used to put the Jews in a plane and dump them into the ocean and time how long it would take them to drown. So the experiments of the people in power and the lengths they'll go to accomplish their agenda knows no bounds, none. Okay, understand how the military methods and techniques that were used by the Nizari Ismaili state was applied, and how they had strongholds, and how they used assassins abroad and preferred defense, and how the Grand Masters like Imam Rukin, and how you had the Rukins in Chicago, but I'm not going to get into that, the El Rukins. That's a slightly different, but it's somewhat the same idea. Now, we go on to, I could talk about historians. How long do I got? I got 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I could talk about historians, Al-Hamawi, and how it plays into the Nizari state and empire that I was talking about, and how the Kingdom of Hungary were using mercenaries, and how this plays into the assassins, and how the assassins didn't necessarily die out, they evolved, and how the Templars didn't die out, they evolved. How the use of hash, like, did people stop smoking hash, or did it evolve? Did empires cease to exist, or did they evolve? Did the Native Americans cease to exist, or did they evolve into these white people with some native genes, and they want to claim that they're more native than they actually are because they seek to connect with their roots, their past? Okay? A lot of you might wonder, why am I showing you a map of Africa when I'm talking about Islam? Because there's more African Muslims than there are Arab Muslims. Because people who practice Islam and Muslims, they not only use symbols that they're not supposed to use, but let me see if I can find this symbol. Okay, I don't have it at this point. Okay, they are being usurped. Their hierarchy is being usurped. That's why there's a split. That's why you have Sunnis and Shia, because there is a split. That's why some people say we should follow the family members of Muhammad, and others don't. They're talking about bloodlines. Bloodlines, symbols, these are the things that cause the split. Banking, power struggle, these are the things that cause the split. War, profiteering, these are the things that cause the split. So remember, Syria and Iraq, Babylon, Iran, Persia. These are the places where people like the Indians and the Vietnamese and the people in Laos and the Cambodians. Remember, Vietnam borders not only Laos but Cambodia, and then further up, closer to Alaska by Russia, you have Korea, North and South Korea. And then you have Thailand, closer to Vietnam, etc. Closer to Cambodia, Laos, blah, blah, blah. Now, you have the Thai fighters in Thailand. You have the Korean fighters. Kung Fu itself branched out into other martial arts. And all martial arts started in Africa. Like capoeira didn't start in Asia, but who practiced it? Asians practice capoeira. If you're going to say that the native people were Asian, then you have just acknowledged that Africans brought Asians martial arts from Angola and from Egypt. Thank you.